In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
Well, hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is live free or die. It is not big government or bust. And yes, I did check again today. It is still live free or die. It is Thursday, July the 23rd, in the year of our Lord 2015. It is already a Thursday. If you wish to call the program this evening and add your 2 cents or 3 cents or 15 cents, to the topics at hand tonight, the number is toll-free, 603-835-3224. That's 603-835-3224. And you are welcome to call in. You know, it was another rather beautiful day. I mean, today I had a full plate, which is typical for me. Excuse me. It is typical for me to, during the weekday, to have a full plate. So much so that here in the bunkerized home studio, I've forgotten to water my coffee tree plant, and I'm looking at it now, and it's looking a little wilted. Now, I don't know much about growing coffee. I really don't. If anybody knows anything about growing a coffee tree at home, inside, please send me the secrets, because for a while there were some flowers on there. It looked like I was going to get some coffee beans, but those flower buds died, and no coffee beans. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I need to fertilize it somehow. I don't know. I know I should probably just look it up online, how to grow a coffee plant at home. Anyway, I like the looks of the shiny, waxy leaves, and the tree is getting pretty tall. Actually, it's probably a good 4.5, 5 feet now tall, and it has a woody trunk, and it's growing, keeps growing. I don't know if I should trim it or something, because it's kind of, it looks different. Coffee trees are different looking trees, I guess. Are they a bush or are they a tree? Well, they're not. It looks different to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just growing the darn thing all wrong. Who knows? Evidently, it doesn't want me to save money on buying coffee, because it's not giving me any coffee beans. And it's a good amount. It's probably a good 5 years old now, 6 years old. In any event, here we are at the heading into the last days of July, and you only got about a week of July left. Then you get into August, and then the rush is on to try to cram everything into what's left of summer. That's the only problem with living in New England, is our summers tend to be rather short. 2 or 3 months, and that's it. And but don't get me wrong, we have an absolutely spectacular early fall. And in the past couple of years, we've had an absolutely beautiful snow-filled Christmas season. So it's the worst the worst part of the year for me. For moi, has passed. And that would be, like March, April, early spring is just blah. I wouldn't necessarily be a snowbird. As I get older, I wouldn't necessarily be headed to places like Florida, Arizona, or other places warm. For the winter, like January and February, I'd probably want to go someplace just to avoid early spring around here, because it's kind of, to me, it's just blah. Some people like it. I don't particularly like the months of, end of April it starts to pick up. But a lot of people talk about, things like April is, supposed to be, April showers bring May flowers. Well, April is more like mud season. Although March does bring in the new maple syrup, the fresh batch of maple syrup. If you love maple syrup, real, natural maple syrup like I do, you will definitely taste the difference from the stuff that you buy off the grocery store shelves, because even that stuff that claims to have 2% or 5% real maple syrup, if it claims to have, that little bit, that right there, there's a problem with it. You're right there, Hey, folks, did you know that there's a Harvard study? And by the way, just hang on today, because we got a bunch of stuff we're going to cover. Some stuff from Chuck Todd is on the agenda. Some stuff from Pelosi. The House is passing some bills, probably not what you think. Hillary's got some Hillary news out there for you. And but right now, for all of you football fans, I know everybody's waiting with bated breath about what's going to happen with Brady. What's going to happen with Brady? Is he going to be suspended at all? Is he going to? He's made it clear that if he's suspended for any number of games, that he's going to take Goodell and the NFL to court. I mean, he's out there trying to, as he says, protect his good name. Well, yeah, you know what? I really don't care. Now, because New England Patriots are not my favorite team. I know I live up here in New England, but it's not my favorite team. Since, going back to the early days, as far back as I can remember, I have been a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Always have been. Always will be. Now, I know that there are a lot of people out there that have their favorite teams, but I just happen to like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, they've had their wonderful, great years. They've had their just absolutely terrible years, and they've had their mediocre years. But they're a dynasty. That team is a dynasty. I will never give up on the Steelers. But so football, the preseason will be starting up in a couple of weeks, which is why Brady is starting to really put the pressure on Goodell. Whatever Goodell decides, they've already, I don't know why it's taking them so long, other than the fact that what I am getting out of this, and I could be wrong because I'm not really paying attention or following this, but here's the deal. From what little of information that I have, it's probably illogical to speak on this, but I'm going to try to make a logical assessment out there on what little information I have. And it is this. It would seem to me that if Goodell threw down a 4-game suspension, that he would have the evidence to back up his claim that Brady knew something or was responsible for at least part of it. So he's going to issue, a 4-game suspension. So then they go into this type of arbitration type of thing and, appeal the suspension, the 4-game suspension, blah, 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 blah. And now it's is it almost a month later or so? It's been a few weeks since that hearing. Now, it's not going to take you very long to come up with a decision off of that unless you're going to stand pat on your decision and suspend, arguably the current best quarterback in the NFL from a number of games. In which case, that there's probably going to be a lawsuit. So what you're trying to do is delay. Delay. Well, if you don't issue your decision on the arbitration or whatever it is, the appeals, until like 2 weeks before the season officially starts, it is unlikely that Brady is going to be able to get his appeal or his lawsuit heard in a court of law before the football gets kicked in a game. So he's kind of hoping, in my view, Goodell is kind of hoping that he can delay this long enough to make the decision so that when it comes right down to it, that a 1 or 2 game suspension is still going to fly. And now, of course, Brady, he's hired a bunch of people, lawyers that aren't stupid, so they're going to try to say, while we are appealing this or trying this, can you set aside the commissioner's decision to suspend him? And a judge is most likely going to say, motion granted. You can't suspend Tom Brady while this appeal or lawsuit, litigation, whatever is going on. And, that could be a month or two. So, but if he loses, then, he's going to be serving a suspension sometime in the middle of the season. But if he wins, that means he doesn't miss any games. He doesn't miss any games. You get what I'm saying? That's the way it is. But I am not here to talk about Tom Brady because, again, I don't really care. But I'm bringing that up because football is coming rather quickly, which also kind of helps to usher in fall and marks the end of summer. Unfortunately, that's the only bad thing about looking forward to football because that's a fall sport. And you have to say goodbye, at least around in New England, to hot summer nights. Remember that song from Grease? Oh, hot summer nights. Well, however it went, I don't remember. I'm not I'm not a musical singer from Greece. But anyway, here's a story that I originally wanted to bring to you, and I don't know why I got off on the tangent of Brady, but I apologize for all you anti-Brady fans out there. And there are a bunch of you. I know a lot of people. Look, either you love him or you hate him, and there are a bunch of people that, probably just as many people hate him as love him. And so I call them, they're Brady fans and anti-Brady fans. So when you anti-Brady fans, you're just as adamant about disliking the guy as the pro fans are of supporting the guy. But in any case, we have a study here. A study. Now, pay it close attention and write this down, because we're going to have to visit this study sometime in January of 2016. And this is a study that is thinking that they're going to predict who's going to play in the 50th Super Bowl in 2016. And people are going to be shocked it's a Harvard study. These Harvard students decided to do a study, I guess. But they're saying that the Seahawks are going to be in Super Bowl 50 facing off against the Miami Dolphins. A student at the school has developed a model for predicting the odds for each NFL team to make the 2015 playoffs, and his picks for the top teams in each league are both expected and shocking. Now, Kurt Ballard had his findings published, actually, on the Harvard College Sports Analysis Collective webpage. He decided that he was going to try to... Harvard, you spend all that money to try to predict, on a Harvard education, to try to predict who's going to win the Super Bowl. Now, I guess if you can accurately predict who's going to win the Super Bowl, you might want to put bet a lot of money on it, and then you, of course, would win a lot of money. But then you'd have to wonder, will somebody think that because you put all this money down, are you actually out there trying to, puff up the results or the returns, as it were? Speaking of puffing up the returns, is it New Bedford? New Bedford, Massachusetts. They were supposed to be building a new casino, but the operator that was going to be a part of building it has decided they don't have the money, or they don't want to spend the money, or something like this. I don't know. I heard it in passing. I wasn't too sure, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a casino anytime soon on the Cape in New Bedford. But in any case, the findings published on the Harvard College Sports Analysis Collective webpage. Here's how he got to the numbers for each team. Now, the method that he came up with uses Pro Football References approximate value statistics. The site's best measure of trying to tease out individual talent. Then using ESPN's NFL depth charts. Now, I don't know what half this stuff means because I don't get into all this stuff. But let's just say that he did a lot of mumbo jumbo in there to come up with this study. To do this study, he had all this mumbo jumbo to come up with two teams that he thinks is going to end up in the Super Bowl. And keep in mind, this is New England. Just saying, this is New England, and they're not predicting that well, I don't know, maybe Brady will quit or something. He'll just drop out of the NFL, retire early or something. But they're not predicting. The study is not predicting the Pats in the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50. But they are predicting this article. This young man from Harvard is predicting that Seattle and Miami, of all people, will be going to the Super Bowl. Interesting indeed. Did you know? Kind of sounded like, was it Get Smart? Did you know that Oh, good grief. My computers are just having a fit today, aren't they? I guess they must have been overworked. But did you know that according to San Francisco.cbs local, that the sexual appetite of teens are down, especially for boys. And, of course, the liberal nut jobs out there in California are trying to attribute the decline in sexual activity among American teens, especially American teen boys, is the fact that, you know, they're getting better sex education in school. No, the problem is that, this is this is going to be a bigger problem than we realize. But boys are I hate to use the phrase that they're not interested in sex. Because, you know, their libido is what it is at that age, and it's just going to naturally go off. But here's the thing. Boys are playing video games longer and harder. Now, what I mean by harder, the games are harder. They're more difficult to play. And that you just can't decide, well, I'm, you know, to have all of these different boys to just not want to have sex, you know, as teenagers, and that you can't attribute that they're not having sex by sex education. That doesn't jive. It doesn't jive together. So what we have here is we have something that we do know that's happening, is that you know, video games, although some girls do play them, it is mostly a male-dominated recreational activity, video games. And the sex drive has energy. It takes nutrients and energy and concentration. Well, if you replace, you know, that sort of consciousness on that particular type of activity, and replace it with something else, well, that desire gets mostly satiated. Now, why do we know this? Is because, well, we see the number of boys with something that's new, I guess, that they're calling video game addiction. Now, I'm not buying into this video game addiction kind of stuff, but you know, there are some people that just play it way too often. And they need to really stop. I mean, look, I understand the allure of playing video games. I happen to like playing video games myself. I don't play them a lot, simply because they can really, before you know it, they can suck your time away, and you don't know that your time has been sucked away. You don't know, because you looked at it's kind of like. Well, you know, I've gotten lost in playing video games before. You don't know what time it is. Look, you're talking about a guy that used to get lost, used to go into a Barnes and Noble bookstore, you know, early afternoon or late morning, around 11, noon, 1 o'clock on a Saturday or something, or a Sunday, and then look up and realize that the street lights outside are coming on because it is now like 6 or 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. So I understand how that you can lose time when you're doing something that you happen to enjoy. Well, it happens on this program all the time. You know, a lot of times I'm thoroughly enjoying what I'm doing and what I'm saying, that I totally kind of, if I didn't have alerts on the time clock facing me, sometimes I wouldn't know that it was a time for a break and to take that break, because you get lost in what you lose your sense of time when you're having fun. It's also why you're very conscious of time when you're bored or when you're not having fun, because you want to move forward and get out of whatever situation that you're in. And sometimes that takes discipline, and sometimes that takes, other things. to get you moving into a different direction. Well, the same thing happens with video games, that you can get lost in these things. Not that they're necessarily addictive. I guess if you have an addictive personality, you could become addicted, so to speak, to video games. But I'm not buying the whole addiction to video games kind of crap. But we know boys are very attracted to these types of games because of the fantasy element of them. It makes them seem, a lot of boys, it makes them seem stronger, smarter, what have you, against their opponents. And they're not getting physically hurt most of the time while they're playing video games. So that's also an attractive aspect. So there's no real contact with people that you may not like if you're a kid. So you're always going to be on the positive. Even if you're losing, they're not going to really know who you are. So that's taking all your concentration. So you don't have time to go out on a date. You don't have time to really think about girls. And sure, you can talk about girls, with your buddies when they come over to play games with you, but you're really not into girls at that particular moment because you're too busy playing and concentrating on the game. You ever try any of the war games, the first-person war games? You don't have time to think about sex. Yeah, well, by the same token, as you get older, you don't have time to think about things that are important like elections either. But still, young men still play these video games. They're fun, I guess.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
Rod Eccles.
603-835-3224 is the number to call should you wish to join me live here on the Rod Eccles Show. And we are back. I am still your lovable host, just moving right along here, getting things really going for you. And let me give you some more information here, that news you can use, I guess, if you want to go in that direction. But this is from the Daily Caller.com. Chuck Todd, or as Rush Limbaugh likes to call him, F. Todd. Chuck Todd, the host of Meet the Press, was talking about a new Quinnipiac poll showing Democratic Party frontrunner Hillary Clinton seriously underwater in her favorable ratings. And he made a damning statement about the former Secretary of State, former Senator, former First Lady. He said, the more voters see of Hillary, the less likely they are to like her. And this is what he said. Chuck Todd said, this fits another pattern of hers. Whenever she's been out front as the face of the Democratic Party, her numbers have gone down. They always have whenever she's in the focal point. Clinton has a 23-point deficit in her unfavorable rating in Iowa, with 33% of voters having a favorable view of the former Secretary of State and 56% with an unfavorable view. In the swing state of Virginia, it's 41% favorable, 50% unfavorable. In Colorado, Hillary is viewed favorably by only 35% of voters, while 56% have a negative view of her. By example, if it wasn't for Donald Trump, the biggest story of the summer would be Hillary Clinton's problem solidifying herself inside the Democratic Party, according to Chuck Todd. It would be the Bernie Sanders boomlet. Because Sanders has been taking off, very, very, very much so. He's been taking off because people just do not like Hillary Clinton. They do not like her, Sam I Am. They're not coming to her aid and coming to her defense. And, there are some people out there who are. Obviously, the wonderful, liberal Democrats out there are always going to promote and accept her as being the smartest, bravest political woman out there. There's nobody smarter than Hillary Clinton. No other woman out there can be president. It's only Hillary Clinton. You know, I found it funny how people always say, yeah, we got Obama. Obama's so good. I can't wait for Hillary to get in next. Why? If Obama's so good, you'd want to slow down time so it would seem like he was there more. But, you know, no, they're ready to move on to Hillary now. I guess, you know, I guess everybody's just tired. Even the left is kind of tired of Obama. But, yeah, you know, her favorable views in Iowa, 33%, Virginia, 41%, Colorado, 35%. Those are not good numbers for favorable. Her unfavorable in Iowa is 56%, in Virginia is 50%, and in Colorado is 56% unfavorable. Now, there are similar numbers here in the great Granite State for people who do not like her. And there are, you know what? There's probably a bunch of people out there who are trying to, there are a bunch of people out there who are trying to build up Bernie Sanders to overtake. And this is why you're starting to see Democrats possibly looking at alternatives. I don't know why they would think that Elizabeth Warren would be an alternative, because she's on the kook scale, kook level of Bernie Sanders, who is, you know, well, we're not going to get into Sanders at the moment, because Bernie Sanders is Bernie. Everybody knows who Sanders is. He's a well-known socialist, bordering on communist. You know, if people can be, according to Bernie Sanders, if people can be coerced and forced into supporting somebody else simply because the person who Bernie wants to do the supporting actually has a little bit of something in the form of, you know, wealth that they've worked very hard for, and Bernie's out there saying, yeah, no, they can't own that much. They can't have that much. They've taken it from the middle class. They've taken it from the poor. They have got to give it back. And in order for them to give it back, because they won't do it on their own, then we're just going to have to raise the taxes on them and take that money and strip it from their closets and strip it from their backs and strip it from their homes and strip it from their businesses, because they won't voluntarily give it all that we need so we can give it to the poor and help make their lot in life a little bit better. That's Bernie Sanders. You know, from the many to the few. Not the way it's supposed to go, though, right? Yeah, no. So this is Bernie Sanders, who's moving up the Democratic political ladder simply because there is no real alternative for the Democrats to look to, which is why you have, you know, people talking about the possibility of Vice President Joe Biden jumping in the race. Now, you got to ask yourself, how desperate can you be if you want gaff a minute Biden to run for office? Yeah, stand up, Chuck. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, Chuck, you're in a wheelchair. I forgot all about. Stand up for Chuck. Everybody stand up, because Chuck can't stand up, and, you know, I just put my foot in my mouth like I do daily. Sorry about that, Chuck. Everybody stand up for Chuck. Yeah, there we go. So the whole point that if you're going to get Joseph Biden, Vice President of the United States under Barack Obama, you know, gaff a minute, Biden. You know, if Biden is speaking anytime, well, have you noticed you haven't really heard much from Biden lately? You haven't heard much because they know that, you know, the Democratic machine knows that, especially the Obama administration knows that Biden is a gaff a minute. So the only way that Biden can get his numbers to rise above Hillary's is to not say much at all and keep them hidden, because nobody likes Hillary. And the more she's out there talking, the less people like her. And the more the Democratic Party might be looking to gaff a minute Biden to save them, because otherwise they're going to end up with Bernie Sanders. And we know that the old curmudgeon, no matter who, hell, at that particular point, the Republican Party could stick up, anybody. Really, Donald Trump, if we wanted to, and they would crush Bernie Sanders, simply because Bernie Sanders and his brand of socialism, communism, is not very well received outside of the fringe element of the far left Democratic Party. Plain and simple. We have a call here, 312. Welcome to the Rod Eccles Show.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was actually referred to you by someone on the debate group, and I wanted to just listen in.
Oh, okay. Well, you can definitely do that if you're calling in to listen. That is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Getting back to Biden, well, look, Joseph Biden is... Well, let's even take Biden out of the picture, because a lot of people were trying to get Elizabeth Warren to capitulate to their draft Elizabeth. I don't know why people were trying to draft Elizabeth Warren either into running. I mean, this woman is on the level of, if it came down to it, who Bernie Sanders' vice presidential candidate would be on his ticket? It would be Elizabeth Warren. And don't think for a minute that that's not what Elizabeth Warren is looking for. She's probably thinking, oh yeah, I'd be more than happy to be on the old curmudgeon's ticket. Because she, much like Hillary, she's not really liked outside of liberal Massachusetts. Now, they haven't done really many polls on her, but I can tell you this. The polls when she was running in Massachusetts against Scott Walker, when she was running for the Senate seat in Massachusetts against Scott Brown, she, outside of Massachusetts, her numbers are not very good. Well, of course, she was lucky enough to be, she was lucky enough to be in the wonderful state of Massachusetts that didn't really care that she lied about being part Cherokee. And as I like to tell people, yeah, I am part Cherokee, and I can prove it. And everybody always gets that reference. I don't even have to mention Elizabeth Warren's name. They get it right away because she was proven to have lied. And not only did she lie about her ethnic background, but she knew she lied about it, and she lied about it to get ahead. Now, the interesting thing is that even though places like, she went to work for Harvard, found out that she actually lied on her applications because, she was a wonderful liberal, they didn't do anything. Well, the American people don't particularly like that. And if you don't believe me that Americans really don't like the far leftist types, there is another very well-known personality out there that is kind of starting to go on the outs with the American people. And this is a report from thehill.com. Are you ready for this? If you're non-Catholic, you probably kind of already know this, but if you are Catholic, you don't need to sit down for this because you're probably understanding why this just might be true. But the Pope's favorability rating among Americans has plummeted over the past year and a half. Now, this is according to a new poll, though he still remains a wholly positive, has a wholly positive reputation. Well, he's only, it's been a year and a half. Americans are slow to change their opinion of elected officials. And I know some people will probably say elected, but he's the Pope. Yeah, folks, are you forgetting that the Pope is elected by the what do they call it? What do they call all the cardinals when they get them all together? I don't know. It's not a flock, but might as well because they're a bunch of birds. The flock of cardinals that get together. Conclave. Thank you. The conclave of cardinals. I think that's the word. gets together to vote about who among the cardinals, among the conclave, is going to be the next Holy Father. You know, God doesn't come down and say, okay, and touch somebody in the head and say, you're the Pope. No, it's a bunch of men getting together and, you know, playing politics inside that room in the Vatican, and they vote who among them is going to be the next Holy Father. So, yeah, he's an elected official. No different from well, I can't say no different from the President of the United States, because, you know, millions of people get to elect the President of the United States, where, you know, there's only a few cardinals. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know the exact number of cardinals that there are that come together from all over the world and form a conclave and get locked in that room until they figure out which one of them is going to be the next pope. And now we don't get to hear a lot about what happens in that room because it's kind of secret, but we have heard bits and pieces of what happens in there, and it's highly politically charged. You know, people maneuver, you know, to get their support, type of thing. And this Pope, I'm sure, was no different. But 59% of Americans have a favorable view of Pope Francis, and 16% view him unfavorably in a new Gallup poll. Now, that's down from 76% favorability in February, but is in line with his rating when he was inaugurated back in 2013. But it's not in line because in 2013, when he was inaugurated, nobody knew who he was, really. They didn't know what kind of pope he was going to be. So now the point that he's down to 59% favorability is because of what this pope has said. And this pope has, you know, taken, well, not necessarily the belief, the core belief of the Catholic Church, but everything else he's taken to the left. You know, unfettered capitalism is the devil's bane. He basically called America's economy devilish. It's born of Satan, basically, is what he's saying, which is not true at all, because, you know, the Bible's pretty clear on capitalism. You know, hey, you got the prodigal. You got the rich guy that goes out and he gives his 3 servants money, and one of them goes out and invests the money and does, you know, very well, and the master comes back and says, "You've done well with a little, so I will put you in charge of a lot." And the second servant doesn't do quite as well as the first servant, but he still returns a profit. Does quite well for his master, so his master says, "You've done well with little, so I now put you in charge of a lot." And then the third one, who's basically saying he was acting like a, socialist. Well, yeah, I knew that you were a hard master. I knew that you were, and that you didn't reap where you sowed. So I just sort of buried your dollar. Let's just use a dollar. I buried your coins, and here they are. And then the master said, "Well, you're a wicked servant. The least you could have done is that the least, and put it in modern colloquial terms, what the master said to his servant, the least you could have done was open up a savings account and put my coins in a savings account so I could have at least gotten interest on it. But you were too lazy. And you expect me now to put you in charge of more of my money? Oh, hell no, I'm just going to take what you have and I'm going to give it to the one who already has a lot." That's what happened. But this is what the Pope says is unfettered capitalism, and it's of the devil. Well, he just basically called God's economy of the devil. And Americans are seeing this guy say this kind of stuff over and over and over again. Especially, towards, banging on the way. And the Pope has also been noted to try to play nice with Islam a little bit. I mean, what? So his favorability is naturally here in the United States is going to drop. But this is the same correlation that you have with Hillary Clinton. Because the more the Pope opens his mouth, just like Hillary, the more she opens her mouth, the less people like them. Well, see, the Pope doesn't have to worry about the American voter, so he can say whatever he wants. He's there until, he passes on. Or, until he gets too old and decrepit to keep going. That's only happened once where I think a Pope is abdicated, I guess, if you will. Whatever happened to the old Pope? He's still alive, right? I don't know. I'm not Catholic, so I don't know. But Hillary, on the other hand, she's out there every time. This is why she doesn't want to be in front of a lot of reporters all the time. Because the more she talks, the more those and look, understand this. All those reporters really, if you notice, they really are not pushing and pressing Hillary Clinton to talk to them. Now, if Hillary were a Republican or a conservative, oh yeah, they'd be on her like white on rice concept. Why won't you talk to us? You got to talk to the American people. You got to answer our questions. But it's Hillary, and they kind of know that, if she really does answer our questions, or if she really does come to the press and start talking, that more and more people are going to hear her and not like her. So they're kind of, they tried this whole notion that if you don't like Hillary, you're a sexist. Well, that didn't fly. Unlike, Obama. Well, if you don't like Obama, that means you're a racist. So they thought they could play since they played the race card, they thought they could tweak it and play the sexist card. Well, the sexist card isn't working for Hillary. And for obvious reasons, because, the woman thinks that she wears pants. And Katharine Hepburn wore pants. Except in maybe some of her early movies, Katharine Hepburn didn't wear dresses. She always wore pants. But nobody, nobody will ever accuse her of not being feminine, a lady. She may have been a slight feminist, but Kate Hepburn was all lady. In her younger days, she was absolutely gorgeous. I can't say the same thing about Hillary. I know politics is not all about looks, but the woman is just not liked. She tries to wear the pants, but she fails. And then she gets caught in lie after lie, and she obfuscates on the lies, and the lies that she tells are so obvious. Well, I didn't know that there was a subpoena for my emails. How can she not know? Hey, everybody was talking about it on Capitol Hill. Everybody was, everybody's trying to find her to serve her the notice, and everybody was asking for her server, her computer server that she already knew was illegal to begin with, but everybody was asking her for it, and she kept saying, well, I don't know where it is, and now it disappeared, and now it's gone, and here are 50,000 emails that I already gave you, and blah, blah. But then she wants to come out and say, well, I didn't know that I was under subpoena to deliver. And she expects the American people. She's kind of like Chuck Schumer. Now, Chuck Schumer, as I have stated many, many, many times before, Chuck Schumer is an evil elf. And why do I say he's an evil elf? Well, because the way just his facial expressions, he kind of looks like an evil elf. He looks out over those reading glasses of his, and he's, just has that type of face that he just looks like an elf, and he looks kind of evil. But Chuck Schumer is a type of person that will look you dead in the eye and lie to you. But that's not what makes Chuck Schumer evil. What makes Chuck Schumer evil in my book is that he will look you dead in the eye and lie to you. And he will know that he's absolutely lying. But he will still expect you to believe it. So the man knows that he's lying, but he still expects you to believe that he's telling you the truth and to let it go and leave it at that. That is evil. So it's kind of like, your teacher in the third grade looking at you and telling you, and you saying, well, teacher, I think I've finally figured out that 5 times 5 is 25. And your teacher's sitting at his desk or her desk, and she looks out, over the rim of her glasses and looks you dead in the eye and says, 5 times 5 is 30. Now, she knows that she's lying, that she's wrong. She knows that you now know that she's lying, that she's wrong. But because she's the teacher, she fully expects you to believe that 5 times 5 is 30. That's Chuck Schumer. That's Hillary Clinton. They will look you in the eye. They will lie to you over and over again. But, hey, they will expect. What difference does it make at this point? Makes all the difference in the world, Mrs. Clinton. If you're going to lie to the American people constantly, well, how do you expect them to trust you? Now, you have to understand that when somebody with these unfavored, it is historically impossible. Well, I shouldn't say impossible. It is historically unlikely that somebody who is disliked as much as Hillary, unfavorable numbers as much as Hillary, as high as Hillary's, can get elected to anything, let alone the presidency of the United States. So we might, think, well, let it go. Let her continue on and let her become the nominee and we'll trounce her. No, not so fast. Because a lot of us didn't think that, well, not me, because I warned people, but a lot of people thought that Barack Obama wouldn't get elected once. But then we have learned that not only did he get elected once, but he got elected twice. And people are saying, how the hell did that happen after he lied to us over and over again? Well, sometimes it just takes a little bit of magic, but you got to wonder, does Hillary have the magic? God, I hope she doesn't have Bill's magic or we're in trouble.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
coolest, most politically incorrect black man on the planet, Rod Eccles.
You know, Hillary is still out there talking about, when she talks about her stuff, and every time she opens her mouth, her numbers fall. Her positivity numbers. Somebody said that once. I can't remember who I first heard that say positivity. It might be a word now, but I don't think it was a word when it was first said, positivity. Somebody invented that word, but Hillary Clinton's positivity is was it Al Sharpton? Anybody? It sounds like something Al Sharpton would say. Yeah, it's the positivity. Or maybe it was, actually, when I think about it, the more I think about it, sounds like something Louis Farrakhan would have said. Positivity. We all have a little bit of it. Got to get that positivity. Well, I don't have any. Somebody asked me the other day about what I thought about Louis Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan, and if you want to know my shtick for Farrakhan, is that Farrakhan is a. Let me just say that. Oh hell, I'm not going to be politically correct with this guy. He's a dangerous, racist, bigoted, Islamic, fascist man. And he identifies more with ISIS and terrorists than he does with his fellow Americans. Plain and simple. And not only that, but I happen to believe that maybe he didn't do it himself, maybe that he wasn't directly involved himself, but I believe that Minister Farrakhan knows who and why Malcolm X was assassinated. I believe he knows that. And maybe he had nothing to do with it directly, but he has knowledge that he is not forthcoming with, simply because, he's now the guy in charge and he kind of likes it that way. That's what I think of Minister Farrakhan. That's what he's called, right? The only good thing, some people have said, well, the Nation of Islam is good for the black community because it teaches them discipline and, keeps them off drugs and keeps them out of violence and all that. Well, no, they kind of treat women poorly. And, they have this racial aspect of hating white people. I'm just saying they're not a lovable, but they're kind of leftists, and just like all American leftists, the Nation of Islam, I never see those people smile. They never seem to be happy. Now maybe every time somebody's got a camera on them, they just happen to have a bad day every time the camera is turned on them. I guess, I don't know, but I don't think I have ever seen Nation of Islam members actually smile. And what's weird is that when they portray these people, and they portray them in television shows, like one in particular, if you remember, Weeds. On HBO, and no, I'm not into the marijuana thing, but I saw a few earlier episodes of Weeds, and one of the episodes was, the lady, the black woman that the white lady was getting her stash from to sell, started to date this man who was a member of the Nation of Islam, and he never smiled. So people are even portraying these people. Actors are portraying Nation of Islam members as not having a sense of humor and not smiling. I'm just saying, just an observation. Anyway, well, hello, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust, and as you might expect, I did check again today, and it's still live free or die. It is Thursday, July the 23rd in the year of our Lord 2015, as we trudge along into hour number 2, the fastest 2 hours in Internet Talk Radio. You can join me live here if you wish to do so by dialing toll-free 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. And let me know what's eating at you or what's on your mind. Don't forget to don't forget to visit rodeccles.net, and don't forget to grab a free copy while the getting is good of my new book, the Conservative Ecclesiastes. See what I did there? Play on words, Ecclesiastes. Well, you'll see it when you see the title. By yours truly, me, just a small little quick read booklet. It's free download over at Amazon. Just look for Rod Eccles or the title, The Conservative Ecclesiastes, in the Kindle library. You can also find a direct link over on the show fan page over on Facebook, the Rod Eccles Show, obviously, over on Facebook. So head on over there and grab yourself a copy. And if you like it, please leave a comment on Facebook that you like it, rate it, rank it, the type of thing. If you don't like it, then, I can take it, but why don't you tell me why you didn't like it instead of putting this huge negative thing for everybody else to read. Just tell me, send me an email why you didn't like it if you didn't like it. But I think that you're going to like it. I think liberals aren't going to like it. That's for dang sure. I know they're not going to like it. And it is what it is. I can't hide it. They're not gonna like it. Because it's logical, and it's factual, and it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. That's why they're not gonna like it. Because liberals aren't all about logic and making any sense. But Hillary, and this is one of the things that doesn't make any sense. Hillary Clinton, back on her. Look, I've told people that we cannot as a nation, we can't afford to let this woman even get close to the White House. She came close as being Secretary of State, and that's as close as I know she actually lived in the White House as the First Lady, but at that particular point, there was no way, she could be president. But, if certain things happened, the line of succession could have put Hillary Clinton in the Oval Office, so she was kind of closer to the Oval Office than when she was First Lady. But we can't let this woman get close to the Oval Office anymore. So I'm going to keep on her. Going to keep the microphone and the spotlight on her. This is from the WashingtonTimes.com. Hillary Rodham Clinton. I hate using her middle name like that. Because she did a disservice to women when she was known as Hillary Clinton for the longest time, and then as soon as her husband gets elected first term, it's my name is Hillary Rodham Clinton. What a phony you-know-what. But anyway, Hillary Clinton on Thursday said the outcry over Planned Parenthood selling fetal organs was an attack on women's right to choose. Now, this breaks the 2 weeks of silence since hidden camera videos exposed the group's executives trading in unborn body parts. She says, I think it's unfortunate that Planned Parenthood has been the object of such a concerted attack for so many years, and it's really an attack against a woman's right to choose. Now, somebody want to tell me how that makes any sense and how that's just not evil speaking? It's an attack? Look, this is something that these two female doctors within the organization in the hierarchy of the Planned Parenthood organization are saying that they're doing. How is it an attack when they're admitting that they're doing this? It's an attack on a woman's right to choose. Look, I've been over this. A woman doesn't have a right to choose to murder anybody. So why do they have the right to choose to murder an unborn baby? Especially if that unborn baby is then going to be used to harvest. Now, I don't know how many times I said it that I have tried to compromise with liberals on this, even though I believe that that life begins at conception. I am willing to try to compromise on certain things, on when life might begin, but liberals don't even want to go there. In fact, people like Hillary Clinton want to have late-term abortions. Now, we know that babies are very viable in the late second and third trimester. So are we not really murdering kids? I think we have a call here. Somebody want to chime in on this one?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Excuse me. I was kind of like sitting idly by just listening, and this subject happened to come in right around the time that I actually needed it to, because you said that there are things that there are situations where you would allow it. Could you explain what those situations are?
No, I didn't say there were situations I'd allow it. I said I was willing to compromise.
Okay, what would you be willing to compromise on?
Well, let me ask you this. When does medical science say that you're dead and there's no way for you to come back?
After they've done the CPR, that's my guess. And you haven't come back, and I guess you're dead at that point.
No. When they hook you up to a machine and they read your brainwaves, they say, and you can look it up, if there is no brainwave activity, there's no possible way for you to be alive, so you can't come back. So
okay, that makes sense. That's not something I was thinking about. It's something that you kind of like threw out there. So I'm not a medical professional. You actually sound like one.
No, that's what medical science currently says is the end of life. When there's no brain activity, no beta, no theta, no alpha brain waves. You're dead. Gone forever. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if medical science says, and the consensus is, since the left likes to think in consensus, is medical science has a consensus right now, from what we know, that you're dead when there's no brain activity. Do you accept the consensus of modern medical science that you're gone when there's no brain activity?
Yes.
All right. Now, let's take it the opposite track. If modern medical science says that your brain activity is the activity of life, would you not then say if there's brain activity in a baby, that baby's now alive?
If there's brain activity in the baby, of course the baby is alive.
Okay, so do you know that brain activity begins in the womb at towards the end of the first, beginning of the second trimester? So, would you then agree?
I know that because I'm a mother, so yes.
So then would you then agree that once brain activity starts, you're alive, and if you're alive, you're a human being?
Yes, I believe that.
So would you then wish to ban mid and late term abortions because it would be murdering another human being?
Okay. You sound like you're being very accusatory and you don't know me, so let me explain something about myself. I am a mother of 3 children. 2 are adults, 20 and 18 years old, and 1 is 11. I actually had an abortion at 31 years old. So, with that said, my baby, the baby was 8 weeks gestation. So, with that said, there was no doubt in my mind that this was a baby. I really balk at the attitude that women are going around just murdering kids because they damn well feel like it. And that's how you're sounding right now.
Well, you know, I don't
that's
know.
Not my reason.
I realize this is a personal thing for you, and I do not know the reasoning behind you ending your pregnancy. I know it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's tough for a lot of people. But there are alternatives to this. And let me add that many women, they do feel that this is their only opportunity. They do look at it as, because it is marketed to them as birth control. And
it's not marketed as birth control. Never has it been marketed as birth control.
Well, when you walk into a clinic in New York City, and then you realize that more black babies are aborted in 2013 than are born, are you telling me that that's not mass genocide?
That's not something that the company is doing. That's a decision that the woman makes. That's not, I don't understand. So you were saying that these companies are actually seeking us out, and I'm a black woman myself. So you're saying that these companies are, well, let's just put it this way. I had an abortion. I didn't go through Planned Parenthood. Nobody sought me out. I went looking for a place for this to happen because of my situation. So with that said,
and how did you find out about the place that you finally went to?
I'm sorry?
How did you find out about the place that you finally went to?
Me and my ex-husband actually did research.
Okay, now
they didn't come looking for me. No one knocked on our door and said, hey, we are here for you to have this abortion.
Look, how do you think that research gets out there? Now, I'm going to be very blunt with this because I happen to be in this field. And you think that they're not searching you out. It's called marketing and advertising.
How could they be searching me out when they don't know my situation?
It doesn't matter. The whole point is advertising and marketing.
We didn't go through an advertising. You don't understand. It's like
on a daily basis.
Going to a hospital. You want to actually research the hospital you're going to, right?
Hospitals advertise now. They're marketing. Everybody does. Planned Parenthood gets nearly over $500 million tax dollars every year just to do just that, to promote.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole notion that they're not out there actively seeking you is false.
They're not.
They're advertising
I actually experienced when I lived in New York, when we were stationed in New York, I actually experienced on a day off, a nice summer day off, having my kids walking down the street and seeing pro-life advocates holding jars of dead fetus and pictures of dead fetuses, screaming at people they didn't even know. So that was more of an advertisement to me that whatever decision you make in life is going to be judged by other people, and it sounds like you're that person.
Well, you know what? When it comes to murdering another human being, you damn well better believe I'm going to be judgmental, just like another jury member. Because we're doing it every day in a jury. We're deciding whether or not a person who deserves capital punishment or does not deserve capital punishment. And yet the first people that stand up and say, well, we should save this person's life are a bunch of liberals who, on the other hand, when they're outside that courtroom, they're saying, okay, because, just get rid of the baby. And if you think that they're not marketing to you simply because they're not in your face like somebody who's in your face about being against abortion, then you do not understand what marketing and advertising is. I'm in that field and I know exactly what it is. And I can tell you, just like Levi's, you're being marketed to on a daily basis.
Okay.
You just do not realize it.
I'm way older. I'm not a teenager. I've been here a long time. So I don't have to be marketed to or forced to or enticed to have an abortion because it's not a cool thing.
How do you buy the products and services
feeling
that you buy? Do you think you're ever influenced by a commercial or an advertising spot or a marketing spot? You're never influenced by that stuff and what you buy.
So we're talking about how it influences the black community and how more black babies are aborted.
I'm saying in total. I'm just saying that I'm saying that where they are located, they have Margaret Sanger has done such a wonderful job of controlling the black population. And I know some people think I'm crazy about this, but read her own words and listen to what she said, and you will understand
I've read everything that Margaret Sanger has ever put out before she passed away.
She's an Aryan, superior racist.
And that has what to do with the decisions of other women to have an abortion today. There are plenty of white women having abortions also.
Yes,
there are plenty of Latino women having abortions also, and they are never brought up.
Oh, well, Latino women, that's a different story. You're not finding white women in cities or in suburbs who are aborting more babies than are being born like you are in some black urban areas. Our population, we have more babies, black babies being aborted than are murdered on an annual basis. But everybody wants to jump up and down and talk about white on black crime and black on black crime. And let me tell you something. The biggest crime is in Planned Parenthood and other abortion clinics that are aborting more babies than are being born that outnumber the number of blacks being murdered every single year. So our numbers are falling in this country.
I happen to actually live in Chicago, Illinois. So on the south side of Chicago, where a lot of that is going on.
I got family in Chicago. I've lived in Buffalo. I've even been in Detroit a lot of times. So these people always telling me, yes, I'm a black guy too. So people always tell me, well, you don't know what it's like. BS. I went to public school number 31 in Buffalo, New York. I know exactly what it's like in the hood.
But
I know what it's like.
Okay, great. That's not what I was going to say. This is not a pissing contest for me. So I'm going to tell you this much. Growing up where I grew up, which was actually not far away from here, right where I am right now, I have actually seen gang violence and black on black crime, and girls having had been pregnant or getting abortions or having to make those decisions and things of that nature. And what I see as a grown up now, and in the discussions that I have with other people, is the fact that there are people who hate the fact that those who are black and can't afford to have a child, or they're not good mothers, they're on drugs, and they feel like they need to have an abortion in order not to bring the child into a world like that. Those same people, if that drug addict mother decided to have a child, they'd be the topic of conversation in a lot of these discussions between Republicans and liberals, where Republicans are saying, we don't want to take care of your welfare kid, and you're a welfare queen, and your child is taking money out of our pockets and things of that nature. So I find it is very.
So the alternative then, in your mind, is to kill the child. That has nothing to do with it.
The alternative, in my mind, is to prevent it from the beginning.
No, yes,
that's what I'm
close
saying.
Your legs.
Prevent it.
That would be
prevent
the motto.
It at all costs.
Yes, that would be the motto. Close your legs. And I just at the beginning of the show, I just talked about how teen.
I wouldn't have known that because I wasn't.
Well, there was a report that said that teen sexual activity is down from 2013, especially among boys. So that number is going down. As far as teen pregnancy and teens having premarital sex in their teen years, but the other alternative is when that you get pregnant is you don't murder your child, you put it up for adoption. There are a lot of people out there that are going overseas to adopt babies. So I guess if people start having
people
babies
in this
here,
country, we have a lot of people in this country who are very picky. And if you have a child that is born,
look at Angelina Jolie. She goes to Africa almost every other year to get a new black model. Come on now, I got to take a break.
She only has one black child. Stop.
We'll be right back. Got to take a break.
Wow, these assholes.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. Call InventHelp today.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-352-1609. That's 1-800-352-1609.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 52security.com. That's the number 52security.com. 52security.com. Go to 52security.com.
Hurt or injured in a car accident? It can be hard to take the proper legal action after a car accident, but waiting can cost you more. The law requires car accident victims to assert claims promptly. You could lose out by simply waiting. Call 800-709-4667 right now to see what your claim could be worth when handled by a skilled attorney. With a lawyer fighting and speaking up for you, you could be entitled to a big cash award. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Now it's fast and easy to connect with the legal help you need after your car accident. Call 800-709-4667. The call is free, but you need to act now before time runs out on your claim. You need a lawyer to fight for you, protect you, and get you the compensation you need and deserve. Time's wasting. Call 800-709-4667. That's 800-709-4667. Call now.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
You shouldn't have to pay to talk to the people closest to you, or the people who used to be. That's why Umbrella Wireless is proud to announce the new Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan. Now you'll get unlimited calls to your best buddy, your mom, or Cindy, once she realizes that you're seriously meant for each other and should stop screening your calls. Now the 30 minutes of agonizing silence where you're both afraid to hang up may drain your battery, but it won't drain your wallet. And you'll get unlimited calls just to check if she still cares enough to pick up, with no extra charges. With the Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, your phone will automatically answer calls from your ex, because maybe she finally realizes that you're the only one for her and wants to get coffee sometime. Now, after lonely nights of looking at pictures of the road trip you took together when everything was great, your misspelled texts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is the booze. The Friends, Family, and Recent Ex-Girlfriend plan, because she wants you back. She just doesn't know it yet.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
CNSnews.com says Bonnier earlier today won't say if the GOP House will defund Planned Parenthood or not. So it appears that there might be some Republicans who also like the idea of Margaret Sanger and controlling certain parts of our population. And you know, that's all it is, folks. I know some people may not like to hear that said, but that is the absolute truth. Because if it wasn't out there to control certain portions of our population, whether it be poor white people or black people or Latino people or Asian people. By the way, you don't see Asians going into abortion centers quite very often. Just doesn't happen. And quite frankly, the numbers are showing that Latinos are doing it less often. Now, the only two major groups that seem to be on the rise of utilizing abortion are whites and blacks. I don't know, maybe they're just trying to wipe each other out before before people are even born. It'll be a world of Asians and Latinos, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, get back to our caller at 312. Now you had something to say just before we had to go to the hard break.
Yes, because I felt like what you said just a second ago, and I didn't mean to be rude just a millisecond ago, because I'm still a little heated about what you just said. You said that Angelina Jolie goes to Africa and she gets a child every year. She only has one African child.
No. I said every other year, and she goes and gets the child of the every other year club. Look. Yeah, I was being a little facetious on that, but there was a point in time when it was very, I don't know, like an accessory. It seemed like all these single and recently wed Hollywood mothers were taking jaunts over to Korea and to Africa to adopt little tan skin or yellow skin babies. It was like the accessory of the month club or something like that. And I'm not the only one who said. A lot of people said that.
How are you a pro-life advocate, but you basically you personify these children as accessories.
I believe
when they're adopted overseas, they're accessories. But when they're adopted here, who are they? What are they?
Because you have Hollywood who is out there screaming it's a woman's choice when they could find and have these babies here and adopt American kids. But oh no, we would rather treat our American babies as garbage or being mined for their body
That's one thing
parts.
I agree with you on. That's one thing I agree with you on. I don't think of any child as garbage, not even no child. I don't care where they are. Go and get an abortion before they have the child and put them through the system, because there are a lot of people who are just really, really picky. They're so picky, they want the child to look like this, they want the child to act like this, they want the child to have a whole lot of DNA patterns.
There are shallow people.
It's picky and selfish.
Yes,
so,
there are shallow. Look, let me tell you something. There was a time up in New York State, and this was out of Rochester back in the 90s. And I got to tell you, before I started the show, I was on the Tom Leykis show out of Boston, Massachusetts. They had a woman who was involved in, the government and adoptions and things like that, and handling adoption cases out of Rochester, New York. She was also on the Tom Leykis show. She was out there advocating that black babies should not be adopted by white people. Now, don't sit there and tell me that there are people that are picky when you have people in the government who are advocating that these children sit and languish when there are other people out there, be they white, Asian, or whatever, that want to give these children.
I don't know if you have a problem with me personally, but that's not what I'm on.
I have no idea what your history is. I'm just telling you what happened on this particular day in this particular program where we have, and you're saying that people are picky. I am not denying that we have some picky people
I'm including those people.
However, we have people out there that are not that picky. And they want to adopt children no matter who they are, but they cannot get them here. And so you have people like Angelina Jolie who could go through the whole process of getting them here, showing people the way, we'll just skip across the ocean and get them from over there and let the kids here in orphanages languish. And then we'll also and because parents then see, or women then see, well, geez, these kids aren't being adopted here, so my best bet is probably not to let the kid be born so it doesn't go through all this anguish. It's one problem compounding another problem.
Okay, so are you angry with Hollywood for going overseas and choosing other kids, or are you angry with women making the decision not to take their kids through the system? Take the children through the system.
The decision has become so callous that we can actually view kids as not being children or babies, but being a lump of flesh that can be crushed on top or crushed below and have their organs harvested. And we have a bunch of people, black and white, defending the practice.
Okay, let's listen, I'm not defending the practice at all. I never said I did. I think you're very angry. I think a lot of people when we have this discussion and we have this debate, a lot of people are waiting to they wish they could actually talk to the people that are doing these things. And when the person actually comes online or is on the phone, that's when all of the anger comes out as if that's how they feel. That's not how I feel. I think it's deplorable that that anybody representing any company like Planned Parenthood, for example, anybody could sit there, have this woman have an abortion, or give the service to her because she asked for it. They didn't come looking for her. She asked for it. But then take the baby's parts and sell them as though they're nothing. I think that is deplorable. I think that is horrible, and I think that is I can't even figure out more words to use for that. I don't have any respect for people who do that. I feel like your job ended when that person asked for that abortion. It's not your job to sell that baby's parts off for profit at that point in time, because that means that you are not doing that for her, and you are not doing it for the betterment of the child not being here. You don't care. You don't care. So I want to.
I don't see there's a betterment of that child not being here. Do you realize the millions of children all across the planet that have been not born because of abortion proceedings, not just in this country, but in other countries that allow it as well? We're talking millions of people, and possibly, yes, there's that old saying, maybe one of those children could have had in their head the cure for certain kinds of
United
cancer.
States, but you know how they feel about little black boys being president of the United States. So, especially if they're liberal. But in China, and I'm not sure if the practice is still done, they abort girls.
Girls. I know, that's deplorable too. The whole point is that that people, that we have governments and we have certain people, like people of Planned Parenthood, that view life as that being that cheap. And if you keep saying that they didn't go, they chose to go in there. No, they didn't. It's just like when you when you go into Hollister, you're saying that, or you go into Abercrombie and Fitch, or you go into Sears, you're saying, well, they didn't come after you. No, it's called marketing. They did. They planted the seed in your head. So when you wanted something, a particular product or service, the first or second thought in your mind says, oh, I got to go to the mall. So when a person decides, well, geez, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with this unwanted child growing within me? Because of the marketing that has been out there, the first thing, and this has been proven, the first thing that often comes to most women's minds is adoption, abortion, not adoption, not prevention. No other alternative whatsoever. Their first choice is to find an abortion clinic. So don't tell me that they're not going after you. It's called marketing and advertising because they put it in your head.
Sweetheart, don't go after me because my situation is not like other women's situations. There might be similar.
What would you do? Now you're saying that I'm being angry. No, I'm not angry. I'm just passionate about people's lives. If you did not have the option from Roe v. Wade of 72-73, what would you do? Are you going to go into a back alley and let some dirty doctor with a coat hanger take care of you?
It's 72 and 73. I wasn't born until 74. So, look, if that was a case, my case was not that. I don't think that I would have chosen to have an abortion if I was not going through what I was going through. So with that said, in 72, 73, before I was born, would I have made that decision? No, because it really would depend on my situation. I had preeclampsia, and I had three children who were born between 4 and 6 weeks early because I was sick. Because I was sick from the beginning of the pregnancy to the end of the pregnancy. Had to be hospitalized, and they had to stay in the hospital. With that said, I didn't want my unborn child. I didn't want him or her to go through the horrible things that their sisters had to go through when they came into the world, and me not being able to take care of myself, walking upstairs and fainting or gaining obscene amounts of weight every week. It was not fun. So with that said, this was not something that I did that was heartless. And no, Planned Parenthood was not on my mind when I made the decision. Nobody else was on my mind when I made the decision other than my health and making sure that I was here for my children. So with that said, there are a lot of women who are in my position, whether their children were born are deformed in utero, whether and these are there are women also who decide, you know what, I'm going to have an abortion. I don't like this man.
I understand that, but that's not the vast majority of women. That is not the vast majority of women walking into a clinic that performs an abortion. I don't care if it's
I didn't say it was. I just said that there were women who actually decide to have an abortion because they don't like the man.
I understand your position. Understand, my sister was a preemie. My youngest niece from my sister was an extreme preemie. And both of them are obviously very healthy. And I have friends right now. One of them had a very difficult pregnancy. She had bed rest, and her daughter, part of her intestines she was born with part of her intestines outside of her body. So with the first month of this kid's life, they had to do a couple of surgeries to put it back in. I also have a friend who they found out while in utero that their daughter was going to have Down syndrome, and also a heart condition where it was going to require surgery to repair the heart condition. But they tried so hard to have a kid. So this child was a blessing to them. Look, I understand that people have
I'm not taking anybody's blessings away or saying that nobody deserves any blessings or anything like that. What I'm saying is that this is an individual choice. It has nothing to do with you.
When it comes to
Trust me, I didn't know who you were when I had my abortion. You didn't know me. So there was no way in the world that you could actually come into my life and tell me, well, you shouldn't have this abortion.
Okay.
I don't know you.
Hello. When it comes to the life of the mother, the health of the mother, severe health, life, especially if that mother has other children, yes, there are times when an abortion is probably appropriate to save the life of a mother. And I will even go so far as to say, in cases of incest, I'm still up in the air on the rape thing because it's really not the baby's fault. But incest and life and health.
Okay, I'll get on that in a second. Go ahead.
Life and health of the mother. I fully understand that. Other than that, we're looking at an epidemic of people utilizing this type of birth control as birth control. And the damaging part about it is a lot of women, once they go through with it, they also, we don't hear a lot about this, but there are studies that are coming out constantly about this story, because we know about the postpartum depression type of thing, and we're finding out that women are actually experiencing, a lot of women are experiencing this after abortion. They're not being told about this kind of thing. Now, I fully understand if you were going
comes
through
when your hormones actually dictate whether you're going to have postpartum depression or not.
But you know what?
You don't have postpartum depression when you're not pregnant.
Post-abortion.
When you haven't been
it's
pregnant.
Not just post-birth. They're having it post-abortion. They're not being told about those risks, period.
Actually,
they're not
they
being
do
told
give you
about
that
the psychological
They don't just take you into a room and perform the abortion. They give you all of your choices and all of the decisions. They give you a pamphlet. They even sit there and talk to you about what you're in for.
Yes, but I can tell you, they're just like these doctors over here that were video recorded. They're encouraging them to go into that operating room to end the child's life. That has also been documented.
You've actually been present during the time where that's actually happened. You've been in an abortion clinic,
been a part of,
and you've
yes,
actually seen them cattle these women into these rooms without giving them information on what they're in for.
It's called my ex-wife. I have. I've experienced.
Okay, it's called my ex-wife. Oh, okay.
I've experienced it.
I
know what goes on in there. I do.
Okay, so you know what goes on everywhere then.
Look, if it's happening in one place, it's happening in other places. Don't tell. It's not. It's
okay.
Not limited.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So much for a liberal calling in and just being this is crazy.
Yes, it is, and we need to stop it. We need to stop it. We need to stop the mass murder of black Americans. Period. We need to stop it.
Okay, you know what? Then all of the white women and all of the Hispanic women, and I know you mentioned Asian. No, I wasn't even mentioning Asian people earlier. But all the Hispanic women and white women and black women need to get together and stop having abortions in that case, not just black women.
Well, look,
because if we all stop having black women,
I am not going to argue with that. If you want, if somebody could say that we need to cut down on the number of abortions that we're having on an annual basis, I'm all for it. I don't care what your race
Why-
is. But I am just sick
Why
and
do you
tired.
make
I
it
am
seem as
sick and
though
tired of
having an
people
abortion
talking
is
about-
fun?
Look, I'm tired
It
of the
is not a
I'm
fun
tired of the
thing.
hypocrisy.
It is
I'm
painful.
tired of the hypocrisy. On one end, you've got the liberals talking about, well, there's a sanctity of life, so we can't kill somebody even though they measure up to the point of deserving capital punishment. So we can't get rid of the murderers and the rapists and all that kind of stuff, all the evil people.
I'm for
we gotta
that.
hold them
I'm
forever.
for that. What are you talking about?
Liberals
I'm for,
in general are
I'm
not.
for
It's kinda like
murder.
Tsarnaev.
I'm for putting
It's kinda like here in
murders
Boston
and rapists
Tsarnaev.
on the death penalty. What are you talking about?
Tsarnaev, when the liberals are out there trying to save this kid's life, he did something horrible. He admitted it, and he should pay for it. But at the same time, when you talk about the sanctity of life on the other end of the scale, and saying, well, life begins here, you get people like Hillary Clinton saying, oh, no. We can't affect a woman's
I don't respect
choice.
Hillary Clinton. I don't. She's not somebody I will be voting for in 2016 or whenever.
I'm just using her as an
so
example because she wants
really,
to be president.
No, she's not
I don't know.
mine.
Do you want a woman who wants to be president who wants to destroy another generation? I don't. You might as well just go to war.
Did you just ask me? Wait, hold on. You're not listening. Did you just ask me if I want a woman that's going to destroy the nation?
No, I said, do you want to have a woman as president who is willing to destroy another generation?
Okay, listen. I just told you while you were talking all loud that I don't support her. I never did. I don't like her. I'm a liberal.
It was a
surprising
rhetorical
to hear a
question.
liberal
I
say that
heard
they
you.
don't support another liberal?
It was a rhetorical question. I heard you.
Okay.
Another thing, liberals need to get a sense of humor and lighten up.
No, you weren't being funny. You were being loud like you were during the entire conversation.
Yeah, because it's my show, so I get to be loud.
Okay. See what I'm saying? How would I know if you're joking, if you're loud, if your tone hasn't changed?
Look, but I'm being half facetious with Hillary. I'm serious as a heart attack when I ask people, do you want a woman who's willing to sacrifice an entire generation of beings?
I don't.
Not just you, but other liberals who support this woman. This woman is now going out there defending this whole mass murder for profit organization called Planned
something
Parenthood.
that she's going to have to atone for. That's on her.
But
I can't support her.
It's not. See, the point is it's not just Hillary. This is the left. Period. Maybe not you in particular. But it is the general consensus of the left elitists who think that this is okay. And they do it because Margaret Sanger was dead on in their eyes when she said that this is what we need to do in order to control populations. Eugenics. They believe in this population control crap. And they also believe that there is a superior race and that blacks are not it. Plain and simple. I mean, everybody on the left wants to run around and say, a bunch of Republicans, all the Republicans are the racist, bigoted homophobes that need to be, taken out or something. When you have a bunch of liberals running around talking about, well, this is a woman's choice to have an abortion, actually to kill and murder their child. And it's okay to do it so often.
Debates like this daily. Nobody mentioned anybody being a racist or anything. I'm on the phone. I think I'm the only liberal here. I'm not sure if there's anybody else on your line.
No, but you're missing the point. This is something that happens daily. Yeah, the Republicans are the racist, homophobic, bigoted party. When that's a bunch of BS. This is what the left is constantly saying. I mean, you got Al Sharpton running around saying it. You got Jesse Jackson running around saying, when you have people like Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who I spoke to, who tell me it's just the opposite.
Oh, so it's us that's racist, not you guys.
It's the Democrats that are racist. Not the Republicans, as the Democrats try to point the fingers at those of us who are well, not me, because I can't be a racist, neither can you because we're black. But we can be. I don't know what they call a
Is being funny there too?
Well, no, I'm being. Look,
because you do know that there are black people who can be racist.
No, they can't. And the reason, and look, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to tell you that there are black leaders like Al Sharpton who've actually said on tape, for the record, that blacks cannot be racist. So when I say that we can't be racist, I'm quoting them. I'm not being funny.
So you're being facetious again. Because I know you don't agree with Al Sharpton, and neither do I.
I'm
so
quoting what they
with that said, I live down the street from Operation Push Headquarters, Jesse Jackson. And
Rainbow Coalition.
I can tell you this. I'm sorry?
The Rainbow Coalition. Yes, I know Reverend Jackson.
Operation Push, yes. I don't know him. I think I met him one time when I was doing security at a play or something like that and shook his hand. But I don't have any respect for him. I don't have any respect for Al Sharpton, and I don't have any respect for whoever else you would probably mention, probably Louis Farrakhan. And
I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you with all seriousness.
Here we go. Go ahead.
Are you sure you're a liberal?
Why? Because I don't agree with all liberals. See, this is what I don't like.
No.
We're not allowed to be individual. I'm an individual.
Either, but I am a conservative. But I gotta ask you
I'm anything, I am an individual. I don't have to kowtow to anybody. Not a Republican, not a Democrat, not an independent, not anybody.
What? That sounds like a conservative.
If I don't like somebody,
that sounds like a conservative, not a liberal. That sounds like a conservative, not a liberal. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry, but I will never be a conservative because conservatives are way too judgmental, and they love to
conservatives until 1965.
They love to they love to talk about the black community and have never stepped foot in the black community.
Oh my goodness, no! I think you got it backwards. It has been the Democrats that have been in charge of all this big, beautiful, wonderful.
I see
welfare types.
I see more crooked Democrats in the black community than I see more. Oh, we want to help the black community understand themselves, Republicans.
Well, that's probably what you need to do because otherwise, we're just going to continue to languish in ghettos when all these other ethnic groups, no matter who they are, seem to go through the ghetto, get out of the ghetto, and move on, and we're the only ones stuck there. I think we're smarter than that.
Okay, I'm where I am right now. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of like midway. I'm not totally in the ghetto, but I'm around the area. So I'm around low-income people all the time. Low-income, my brothers and sisters around here are low-income people. They have Section 8. They're on, we have the baby mamas and the baby daddies. We have gang violence around here too. So with that said, a lot of the people who are in this neighborhood or around in the surrounding neighborhoods, they don't choose to be there. They're suffering from some kind of generational curse where their parents and their parents have not come up to that point, and they didn't teach them anything because they didn't know any better.
Wonderful caller, but I do have to run because it is the end of the show. But you know what? Feel free to call in again anytime. Call in tomorrow. We're going to continue our conversation. Until then,
maybe. Thank you.
I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. Have a wonderful night. I'm out.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely.
The leader in talk radio on the Internet. Right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.